We were studying last Sunday the first few verses of chapter 5 of the Gita, particularly in response to Arjuna's question, Sannyasa Karma Yoga, which is better, more excellent. And in clear words, Krishna said, Karma Yoga is better than Karma Sannyasa. Giving up all action is not as excellent as doing action in a spirit of yoga. That's called Karma Yoga. So last Sunday we studied this verse, the verse number 5. Yat Sankhya Prapyate Sthanam Tat Yogairapi Gamyate Ekam Sankhya Cha Yogam Cha Yap Pashyati Sapashyati. Whatever high state one achieves through Sankhya Yoga by renouncing all actions, simply sitting in meditation and realizing the Atman. Whatever state that Sankhya Yogi attains is attained by the Karma Yogi also. Yat Sankhya Prapyate Sthanam Tat Yogairapi Gamyate. Even with the yoga you can attain it. Then comes the wonderful statement, Ekam Sankhyam Cha Yogam Cha Yap Pashyati Sapashyati. Yoga and Sankhya are one and the same. Renunciation of action and trying to get samadhi in some cave or mountain, doing actions in society in a spirit of yoga, detachment and spirit of service and dedication. Both these are the same. They lead you to the same goal. What a beautiful idea. This is the central stress in the Gita. In no other book you will find this clarification and this lifting up the ordinary human life to such high level that the highest spirituality you can have here and now, in the midst of work, in the midst of struggle, but with the mind attuned to that yoga attitude. That is the stress that is going on here. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there occurs this verse, very interesting. Vanepi dosha prabhavanti raginam griheshu sarvendriya nigrahas tapaha. Even in the forest, if a man has got sensory cravings, he will have trouble to live a spiritual life. Vanepi dosha prabhavanti ragina. Men of attachment, sensory attachment, will find terrible problems even when they go to the forest to live there in meditation. But griheshu sarvendriya nigrahas tapaha. If you remain at home and you are disciplining your sense organs, trying to live that life of Karma Yoga, that is supreme tapas, real austerity, real spiritual practice. Then, akusthite karmaniya pravartate nivartaragasya griham tapovanam. A very definite statement Bhagavata gives here. Those who are engaged in blameless deeds, akusthite karmani yah pravartate nivartaragasya. Those who are free from this kind of sensory attachment, griham tapovanam, his own home becomes a forest of austerity. A forest where you perform your austerity. Tapovanam means that you go to Rishikesh, you go to Uttarakanshi, have a full kutia, you have started your life in a tapovana. You can have it here. Nivartaragasya griham tapovanam. This griham, the home, becomes a tapovana. Transform it into a tapovana. This tremendous emphasis on not where you stay, but how do you train your mind? How do you shape it? You can do it here or you can do it there. In fact, when you do it here, it is more successful because in the midst of challenges, you are strengthening the mind. If there is no challenge, there is nothing to strengthen. If the mind is not distracted by anything, there is no challenge to the mind. What you achieve is poor. But in the midst of challenges, you are able to pacify the mind, then it is wonderful. It is just like the sannyasins do not carry money. That is the rule. Swami Vivekananda traveled all over India without touching money. That is the old system. Now, without touching money, you develop detachment for money. But handling money, can you still be detached? That is much greater. A bank officer has to deal with crores of rupees. It passes through his hand. The rule is, you pass on this, it's not yours, it belongs to the public. You are only handling, that's all. That is also true with regard to a householder. He is only handling the money. It goes on. That spirit of attachment is not there. And if you can do so, you are better than the one who says, I don't touch money, therefore I am clean and pure. You handle money, still you are clean and pure. What a beautiful idea. More challenges are there before you. You overcome them. Now these ideas come again and again in the Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, and the Gita also comes there. So this is the stress Krishna is placing, that everyone can rise to the high spiritual level. He has only to take into account this particular subject in the midst of his day-to-day activities. He should not get lost in day-to-day activities and pleasures and comfort, forgetting to train his mind to rise higher and higher and higher. There are higher levels to attain. So the one clarion call of all Vedanta to every spiritual seeker is, don't stagnate at the physical level. Don't stagnate at the sensory level. That is the animal life. Man has the capacity to go beyond this level. So continue to march on, march on, march on. Don't stagnate. That is the only message. It doesn't condemn sensory life. It doesn't condemn our day-to-day actions for earning money, running our household. Not at all. There is no place for the devil in the whole of Vedanta. They are all great, they are all good, but don't stagnate. Don't stagnate. That stagnation is called samsara. Don't be a samsari. When you stagnate at the sensate level, then you are a samsari. Otherwise you are in samsara. You are struggling, you are developing. Just like a baby develops. Eating, drinking, pleasure, then slowly developing desire for knowledge. Goes to school, reads books. If he stagnates at the baby level, playing toys, he has grown up physically with mustache and beard, everything, but still he is playing toys. That stagnation is very bad for man. He must give up the toys, lead mind to higher levels of seeking knowledge and excellence. In that kind of march, you also find a stage where you will go beyond sensory limitations. Try to go beyond all this samsara or the sensory world. Then you realize your own true nature. The tremendous possibility is hidden within you. God himself is hidden within you. That knowledge will come to you. That's called tapas. Through tapas you can achieve all this. That tapas can be done in the household. It doesn't mean a dry asceticism, not at all. You are enjoying your day-to-day life. You have society. You can smile, you can enjoy everything. But you are not stagnant at that level. You are going higher and higher and higher. Even if you are an educated person, you can play toys with children. There is no harm. You are encouraging the children thereby. So that you will never become an ascetic of that dry type. Ramakrishna always said, don't be a dry ascetic. Mother, don't make me a dry ascetic. That kind of asceticism, which we usually associated earlier, with a very wry face, not even a smile, not even pleased to see a baby in front, that kind of asceticism has no place in Vedanta. Though many Hindus do practice this kind of asceticism, some of the people at whom I have seen, when they begin to read the book of religion, till then they were smiling, they were enjoying, they were talking, they could make fun. As soon as they start reading book of religion, they become very grave. Nobody can approach them. There is no place for that in the Vedantic teaching. You continue to be full of cheer, be happy to meet with people. There is a divine in them also. Don't become a dried up ascetic. That is where this teaching has a tremendous significance. March on, march on. Don't stagnate, don't stagnate. There are so many heights to conquer. That's why the clarion call comes in the Gita as it had come in the Upanishad, Katha Upanishad. Uttishtata, Jagrata, Prapya Varan, Nibodhata. Arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached. That goal is perfect realization of the divine hidden in all of us. And the divine in me is also the divine in you. There is only one divine, undivided, existing in apparently divided things, as the language of the Gita in later chapters. Avibhaktam vibhakteshu vibhaktam ivachasthitam. That infinite Atman is one and undivided, Advaita. But it appears to be divided in you, in me, in all. This knowledge comes to you. I am one with all. I am the infinite Atman. I am one with all. Just like space is undivided, but it becomes apparently divided by putting the walls around you. So you have got a hall, you have got a building, you have got here, this, everywhere. But space itself doesn't know this limitation. That's why the Atman is compared to space in our physical experience. What a beautiful. Space is ever clear, ever pure, nothing can taint it. The Atman also is the same. So Akasha becomes a symbol of the Atman. In the Upanishads you will find. It has all the qualities of this except consciousness. If consciousness is added to Akasha, it is Brahman. So in many places, Brahman is Akasha. Akasha is Brahman. This statement you will find there. So, this achievement is open to all. There is no time limit for it. This life must keep some great ideal in front of itself. We have lesser ideals, short-term ideals, long-term ideals. Just like in your economic development of India, we have a 5-year plan. Only 5 years. But you must also have a 500-year plan. The mere 5-year plan won't do. This is a short-term plan. There's a long, what type of man that is coming out of all these plans? So ask a question. Is he going to be selfish, money mad, corrupt, evil? Then its 5-year plans will be dangerous for any nation. What we want is decent human beings. We have got ethical values, moral values, who love other people, who try to lift up the common people. That's a long-range plan. These are all political plans of 5 years. So they must have always a long-range plan and a short-range plan. In human life, short range is, of course, I must marry, settle down, earn money, rear a family, get a good fame and name. That's quite natural. Jung, psychologist of Zurich, I've referred to him before, refers to this level of life is called achievement. What have you achieved in life? People will ask you, you must say, yes, I achieved this, achieved that. There's a biodata, so many achievements are there. Beautiful. That is necessary. But at one time you will see these achievements are nothing. They only get you a little praise from the world. But what have you become? That's the bigger thing. Achievement is one thing, becoming is something else. What have you realized within yourself? Have you gone beyond the genetic limitation? Have you realized your own infinite spiritual nature? Can you feel your oneness with all people? That comes from high spiritual development. So that is called culture or personality by Jung. This is achievement, that is personality. Don't stay only at the level of achievement. You are still in the control of the genetic system. But it's only in this sphere of personality and culture you go beyond the limitations of your genetic system. You are only an instrument of nature when you have achievement. Suppose you have got 5 children. What did you do? I have achieved. I have got 2, 3, 4, 5 children. They are fine. But you are only an instrument of nature in that particular field. It is nature does it through you. You are only an instrument, nothing else. This is a wonderful idea, and Jung especially stresses it. We have stressed it in our literature. In all the things that we are doing in the world of achievement, we are essentially an instrument of nature. We have not realized our own true nature, our own spiritual freedom thereby. Therefore, rise from achievement to culture or personality. These are the words he uses, and more or less the same here, that at some time or the other, we must be able to say, I am free from this genetic limitation, this sensory limitation. I am truly free. I am truly free. Vedanta act, that is your true nature. You are not a mere instrument of nature. You are free. That is your true nature. Now that is the subject that is going on all through this Gita. And the Gita says it is a birthright of one and all over the world, everywhere. The human being has this capacity. Nature has given him or her this organic capacity. Nobody is condemned. Nobody is going to lose the battle. Today or tomorrow, you will reach the end of this great struggle, this great adventure to become free here and now in this very world. You may have to pass through many births, doesn't matter, but I am on the way. What are these births? Just like you write a sentence, put a comma, put a semicolon, no full stop. Full stop is where everything ends. That is moksha, absolute spiritual freedom. Till then is a continuous march. I am in that great line of pilgrims towards that highest spiritual realization. So, Krishna is telling in the next verse, today which we have to study, verse 6, Sanyasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptum ayogataha yogayukto munibrahma nachirenadhigacchati. Real sannyasa, renunciation of action, cannot come without perfection in yoga, karma yoga. That is the language. Real sannyasa. Fake sannyasa you can have, but real sannyasa cannot come. Sannyasasthu mahabaho dukkhamaptum. Difficult to achieve. Ayogataha. Has not been disciplined in yoga. First discipline in yoga. Then you will know how to renounce your actions. That renunciation will be a spiritual renunciation, not a physical renunciation. Sannyasasthu mahabaho dukkhamaptum ayogataha. Ayogata means one who has no yoga training, who has not been established in the karma yoga, the spirit of dedication. Just like without fulfilling your citizenship responsibility, how can you have real sannyasa? You have left people, wife, women, children all at home, absolutely to themselves. You have run away, giving up all work, and you want to become a sannyasi. Is it possible? Discharge your responsibility first. You have taken all the pressure of life and not the responsibility and burden. Your responsibility to society. Never forget these things. As Vivekananda said, he uses 2 terms, manhood, sainthood. Don't try to become a saint before you become a man in the true sense of the term. Manhood and sainthood. Sainthood raised on manhood will be genuine. Sainthood without the manhood below will be fake sainthood. And we have been after that in this country for centuries together. Fake sainthood. Put on a dress, you become a saint. But here it is different. You have worked hard, you have struggled, developed high character, helped people. You feel you have become a man in the true sense of the term. Then you become a saint. This strengthening of the I is needed to develop citizenship qualities and responsibilities. Develop this I, expand it, feel one with all. That is the first stage of human development. And last stage is renounce that I, once for all. God alone is. There is no I at all. So renouncing the I cannot come without training the I and strengthening it. Otherwise it will be a fake renunciation. Vivekananda said this, dealing with our people. Everybody wants to be a saint in India. Nobody wants to be a man in India with that good human relations with others. It is like, he said, a poor man comes to me, Swamiji, I want to become a sannyasin, a monk, a saint. But what have you to renounce? You want to renounce everything to become a monk. What have you to renounce? Neither a good body, nor a trained mind, nor money in the pocket. What will you renounce? Have something to renounce. Renunciation means having something to renounce. When you have something to renounce, that renunciation is genuine. Therefore the language comes here. Sannyasastu mahabaho dukkhamaptum ayogataha. Without this training in yoga, karma yoga, high character efficiency, public spirit, spirit of service and dedication, all this is a good, wonderful chapter of human life. Without that, real sannyasa cannot come. Even sannyasa work will not be genuine without this achievement. That's what has harmed us in this country. We all want to be sannyasi. As Ramakrishna says, a man quarreled with his wife, suddenly disappeared next day. Man has gone. They were all worried, where has he gone? After 1 week, they got a letter from Benares. I have come to Benares to be a sadhu. Now I am coming back again to the house tomorrow. So I am not happy here. So much of sannyasa belongs to this category. Real sannyasa is so genuine. And sannyasa can be had here and now. You can be a living sannyasi. Next yoga is going to tell us that. You will be a living, constant sannyasi at home. That possibility is there. Yoga yukto, those who have well established themselves in yoga, muni, that great thinking mind, Brahma na tirena adhivachati. Very soon he realizes Brahman. When he is well established in yoga, he is a muni, he is a mananashila, thinking person, talks less, thinks more. He is always busy with enriching his mind, his inner life, what Hume called development of personality. Remember, it's a psychological term. Very often we use the word personality for nice hair, oil is used, various beautiful things in the face and all that. That has nothing to do with this subject. That's only for our day-to-day life to show oneself good for others. Real personality development is within. A girl may be extremely beautiful physically, but if her mind is full of selfishness and greed and violence, where is beauty there? Where is personality there? The main thing is the mind. You evaluate a man in terms of his mind. That is the most important thing. Added to this, the physical beauty and perfection is there, all the better, perfectly fine. So, he said, personality development is essential. Yoga yukto munir brahma. When he has developed this karma yoga, that person who is a muni, thinking person, manana shilo. What a beautiful idea. Manana shilo. Speaks less, thinks more. And what he speaks comes from that thinking. That's the nature of real speech. Weighty speech. Most speaking is absolutely light, without any worth in it. But great people speak a few words, contains profound meaning. Gandhiji was a man of few words. Though during his long life he has spoken volumes, but the man himself is a man of few words. Every word has meaning. There is great thought behind it. That's the nature of all great people. Those who speak less and talk more. In fact, the biggest change will come to India when we change our present situation for the last several centuries. Very talkative, so little thinking. That has been our quality. The most talkative nation in the world is our people. We have to get rid of this. We have to change the whole thing. We talk less, but think more. The mind is developing richer and richer. Yoga yukto muni brahma nachirena. Very soon, Brahma adhigachati. He realizes Brahman. That is the promise given here in Bhasa. Bhasa was a great poet like Kalidasa. In his book Abhimara, in chapter 5 and 5, chapter 5, verse 5, there is a very beautiful verse. Murkhasya prajnasya karyayoge samatvam abhyedi tanuhu na buddhihi. If a fool and a wise man are working, look at their work, you find they are the same people. Look at their mind, they are so different from each other. Prajnasya murkhasya cha karyayoge, when they are actually in work, samatvam abhyeti, they are equal. At what point? With sharira, with deha. Physically, they look alike. But do penetrate into their minds, what a world of difference between this man and that man. Prajnasya murkhasya. Both are working. Just like Gandhi was spinning, Kabir was spinning, and some others are spinning. Spinning is common, but the mind behind is so different between the people concerned. So in all these matters, the main thing is the state of the human mind. Is it filled with love and compassion? Is it filled with purity and devotion? Is there strength in it? Is there peace in it? All that is the most important thing, so far as mind is concerned. And then you work. Any work. Washing, cleaning, sweeping. They have seen Pujari working in temple. Just imagine a Pujari working in a temple. It's a very high job he is doing, but his mind is so poor. He is always looking at your pocket, how to get more money. So what is use? Mind is very poor. The work is very high. So it's not the work that makes a man high or low. The attitude behind the work, the mind behind the work, as I said in the Secretariat lecture in Hyderabad 2-3 years ago. Do a clerk's work, but not with a clerk's mind, but with the mind of a citizen of free India. In all departments this applies. The work becomes great when done by a great mind. The work becomes small when done by a small mind. It's not work that is great, but the mind that is behind the work. So, this Bhasa's Abhimara puts that subject in beautiful words, Prajnasya Murkhasya cha Karya Yoge. See, but a wonderful thing. Samatvam abhyeti tanuhu na buddhihi. Tanu means the body. Buddhi looks alike, but mind is entirely different if you can penetrate. The mother cooks food for you, and the maid cooks food for you. Cooking is the same, but the mind is so different between the one and the other. So that is the most important thing so far as man is concerned. Karma Yoga deals with that subject. How to make this mind rich, how to make this mind pure, how to make this mind unlimited. That is the work we have to do. How? In the context of work itself. We are handling the mind in the context of work. Normally nobody does so. When we are working, we are busy with the work. We neglect the mind. But no, this work is meant to educate you, to train you. What a wonderful thing it is. Work as a center of education. It's a very important thing. It's not reading books only, education. But the work that you do, the human relations you have, they are all centers of education for you. That's how you grow. Total education. Constantly growing richer and richer within you. A rich man within. What a beautiful idea. So he said, Yoga yukto munir brahma nachirena adhigacchati. Very soon he realizes Brahman through this kind of training and discipline. A turns mark that it is meant for all. For children, for grown-ups, for people in east or west, atheists, agnostic, religious people, for all. This subject is not meant for any particular group of people. It is for all. As a human being, how do you grow? How do you bring out the possibilities hidden within you? That subject must agitate your mind. Then turn to the Gita and you will find the answer. You will find the guidance. This is the way. This is the way. Turn your life situation into a tremendous all-round education for yourself. Physical, intellectual, spiritual and social. All education will come to you, provided you know how to manipulate your work situation, your life situation. Let not situation manipulate you. You manipulate your life and work situation. Then only you are free. Otherwise you are an animal. An animal never manipulates its life situation. Life situation manipulates the animal. The bull is yoked to the yoke to the plough. What has he to do? He goes on working till somebody stops it, comes back, takes a little straw and water and goes to rest. That's what you find the bull doing. In the case of man, he does all this, but he does something more. He is training his mind. He is shaping his inner life, making it richer, 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 going deeper and deeper to realize his own infinite nature. That is how a bigger man comes out of the given man. We have to build up our higher personality on the given personality. That is what true education means, which is not confined to school and college or institution, but life itself is the center for that education. British poet Wordsworth has said, unless we erect ourselves above ourselves, how poor a thing is man. That is the real teaching of the Gita. You erect yourself above yourself. These are raw products. You have to process it and something beautiful will come out of it. This human body-mind complex, when we are young, it is a raw material. You have to transform it. That whole transformation process is education. Religion is only the higher part of that education, but the continuous education. That is everybody's privilege and responsibility. If he neglects it, remains stagnant at a very low level, at the animal level, it is a matter of tragedy. Nothing greater than that. All tragedies come from that kind of life. In all literature you can find tragedy centered on man who has become stagnant at the organic level. That should not be. Break through it. Try to expand, grow. The word expansion, growth, Sanskrit we call it vikasa, atma vikasa. Have you grown? Have you expanded? That's the question we have to ask. Physical expansion, strength of body, and then mind expansion, strength of knowledge, and spiritual expansion. Realizing our own infinite nature, feeling one with all. What a beautiful society will come when majority of people are on that path of expansion from this to that, from physical to the spiritual. That is a really well-developed society. Truth does not pay homage to any society, ancient and modern. Society has to pay homage to truth or die. There is a sentence in Vivekananda's lectures in America. No truth can pay homage to society. Society has to pay homage to truth and develop itself. Otherwise, it will die. That is the statement there. So man has to discover this is the truth of life. This is the truth towards which life is to be directed. Then he said, Yoga Yukto Munir Brahma, Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma, Vichitatma, Jitendriya, Sarva Bhotatma Bhotatma, Kurvannapi Nalipyate. That constant emphasis, the sign coming now in this verse also, that is verse 7. He says, Yoga Yukto, one who is well established in this Karma Yoga, Yoga Yukto, Muni is a Vishuddhatma, pure in mind, Vishuddhatma, Vijitatma, has conquered his body, and Jitendriya, who has conquered his sensory energy system. Such a person, he has used his life situation to achieve these. Such a person Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. He feels himself one with all. See the language. You do not feel you are confined to this tiny organic system. You have expanded it and made yourself feel one with all. That infinite self you have realized. Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. The language is Sarva, means all. Till now you were an isolated individual. Then you became a social individual. With a little development of spirituality, you felt your oneness with others, you served other people, you became a good citizen. That's also spiritual expansion. But the highest expansion comes, you feel one with all. The sufferings and joys of others are your sufferings. There's only one Atman, I realize that truth. Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. Such a person, Kurvannapi Nalipyate. Even though he is constantly performing actions, he is never tainted. He is ever pure. This is the challenge given to us. Heaviest work. 24 hours you can work. There is no tainting at all. Because this truth has been realized. I am not this tiny body. I am not the sensory system. They are all connected with this particular individuality of mind. I am the infinite universal self of all. I have realized this truth. That person is unique. The whole evolution of man is in that direction. From the particular to the universal is the evolution of man. A baby begins its life with completely identifying with its body. It cannot think of anything else. It wants to protect its body. It wants to get the warmth of the mother's body and the touch of the skin of the mother's body. Skin touch is very important for a baby, for security, for development. For a baby it is quite alright, but it should not remain a baby. As it grows, it knows how to detach itself, how to grow, how to respect other people, how to serve them. All these expansions come. What's the nature of that expansion? Psychic expansion. Actually, it's the spiritual expansion through psychic expansion. Expansion has taken place. A good citizen has spiritually expanded. The suffering of my fellow countrymen, I also feel I am there to go and help him. That's called citizenship in the narrow nationalistic sense. Today, it refers to citizenship of the whole world, where the world is one. The earth is one. We call it the mankind awareness, which is relevant to this 20th century and the succeeding centuries. In all these matters, when you go beyond your own ego, your own organic limitation, you expand your sense of I. That first stage of expansion is social awareness, a concern for others. That is spiritual. And this, when you continue further and further, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. I am the self of all beings. I am one with all. An extraordinary development. A few only have realized this kind of highest unity with all. A Jesus or a Buddha. Their compassion had this as a base. Shiva in our literature is of this nature. He is one with all. He is full of compassion, you say. And so, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma Kurvanyati Naripyate. When you are going in that direction, more and more you will feel work is there, but no attachment is there. No taint is there. Mind is clean, mind is pure. That is how you will experience more and more of this as you proceed in this direction. Then, this is in detail explained. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavid. The one who knows the truth, tattvavid. Tattva means the truth of life, Brahman. Those who know this, they must think like this. I do not do anything. Naiva kinchit karomiti. I am not doing anything. So a lot of work is being done. I am not doing anything. Naiva kinchit karomiti. Yukto, the yogi, always manyeta tattvavid. The knower of truth, the yogi, must think like this. What all things you are doing, what all things are included in such doing, everything. So in 2-3 lines, he gives a sample. What is that? Pashyan, Shrinvan, Sprishan, Gachan, Ashnan, Kanchan, Shwapan, Shwasan, Pralapan, Visarjan, Jighan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Napi, Indriyan, Indriyartheshu, Vartanta, Iti, Dharayan. All activities are mentioned there in a sample form. The knower of truth, being centered in the self, to think, I do nothing at all. Though seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, going, sleeping, opening and closing of eyelids, breathing, speaking, letting go, holding, convinced that it is the senses that move among the sense objects. What is being done? My sensory system is handling the sensory objects, and I detach. This knowledge will come. This has come in the 3rd chapter also. Indriyan, Indriyas are busy with the objects of the Indriyas. I am nowhere there, I am detached. And yet, even though this capacity has come to you, you can bring your mind to associate with all these activities and feel warmth and zest in life along with others. Both you get. The capacity to detach can be added to the capacity to attach. Then only you are truly free. They say that somebody taught a boy to climb a tree, and he climbed. As to come down, I don't know. Nobody has taught me how to come down now. I am in that condition. So most people are of that. They know how to attach. They don't know how to detach. But the perfect man knows how to attach, how to detach. Both. He can enjoy life with others. He can smile. He can talk. He can encourage people. By himself, he is perfectly detached as well. This capacity must come to each one. Capacity to attach, capacity to detach. That is called freedom. If only one is there, it is not freedom. If both are there is true freedom. So here is a senior man in the house. He is very detached, but he can play with children, he can talk with people, he can enjoy everything. And yet, essentially, he is detached and free. That is called a fuller life. Otherwise, merely an ascetic attitude, I am free, I am detached, you cannot smile when others are smiling, that is not true freedom. It has gone into some sort of another type of stagnation. So here is that Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma Vijitatma Jitendriya Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma Kovannapi Nalipyate. Even though you are working, you are not tainted by that one. Lebana means tainting. Some dirt is attaching to your body, that's called lebana, or to your skin. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavid. Pashyan, Sunvan, all these various activities that we do to our sensory system, he knows I am not in touch with all this. I am detached. I am detached. The sensory system working in their own way. They become automatic in that way. That kind of thing. That move among sense objects, senses are doing it, not I, but my sensory system. He has separated the two. That is great sense of freedom. We begin our spiritual growth from that level. The capacity to detach from the sensory system. No animal can do it. Not a single animal, including a chimpanzee, can do this work. But only a man can do. And because man developed that capacity even a little, he is able to dominate animals also. This is the neurology text, once I refer to it. Capacity for image making, imagination. Before you act, you can picture to your mind the situation and the action. And you can change one action to another in imagination before you actually act externally. This capacity only man has, no animal has got it. Neurology calls it capacity for imagination, image making. It is that makes man dominant in nature. No animal has it. So I am quoting the famous neurologist of Bristol, Gray Walter. If you don't accept what I say, I will only ask you, suppose a tiger or a lion had developed this capacity, what would be the result? We won't be here to answer that question. Any animal that develops this capacity will dominate. That's the power of imagination, detaching from the sensory system and studying what is what, then reacting in an original way, not merely as action-reaction program. So input and output, that is normal way. Your input, imagination, thinking, judgment, then output. That makes a world of difference. There you find you are really detached. The beginning of detachment is there, but develop it further and further and further. Most people do not do beyond this, that is why they suffer. So all that idea comes here in this wonderful statement, Kurvannati Nadityate. Even though you are working, you are not at all tainted by the work or its results. And next sloka, number 10, is the confirmation of all these what we have studied so far. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tekva karotiyaha lipyatena sapatena patmapatra nivambhasa. This is a well-known verse of this chapter, verse 10 of chapter 5. Brahmanyadhaya karmani. All our actions we offer to Brahman. In that 24th sloka or 4th chapter, we have said, which we use during meals as a prayer, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi, Brahmatnau Brahmanahutam, Brahmaivatena Gantavyam, Brahmakarma Samadhina. Everything is Brahman. The offering, the fire, the man who offers, the result of the offering, everything is Brahman. That is what he has said there. Here, 10th verse says that all your actions, they are offered to Brahman. Everything has come from him, from that one infinite spiritual source. Everything can be given back to him. What has come from you, I give back to you. Brahmanyadhaya karmani. Sangam tektva, giving up all attachment. Karotiyaha, he who does so, lipyate vasa papena. He is never touched by sin, any type of sin, by this tremendous attitude. Just like Patmavatram iva ambhasa. The lotus leaf is in water, water doesn't touch it at all. That is a very famous example in all our literature. Patmapatram iva ambhasa. Ambhas means water. Patma is lotus, patra is leaf. So the lotus leaf is never wet, though it is always in water. Take it out, all water is gone. Similarly, this man is in the midst of heavy work. Work doesn't touch him, doesn't taint him. What a beautiful idea. This anybody can try and realize for oneself whether it is true or not. That's why these are all verifiable truths. Therefore they are science. Science of man in depth. Anything that you can verify is scientific. A mere belief without subject to verification cannot be science. Belief, when verified, then it is true, scientifically true. So the Gita teaches many truths about man which are verified and verifiable. Some people have verified it before, and it is placed before you for your verification. Try and see 1 step, 2 steps, how far you are able to verify this particular truth. So, Brahmanyasaya karmani, sangam tektva karoti yaha, lipyase nasapapena. Such a person is never touched by sin, never free. Patnapatram is anbhasa. Like water doesn't taint a leaf of a lotus plant, though it is always in water. It never gets tainted at all. That's a great state of mind. If there is no egoism, there is, and all actions performed merely with the action of the sensory system. He himself is not concerned with it. He is entirely free from it. He is too big to be exhausted in a little action. That is the nature of this wonderful spiritual realization. You can say therefore, as in the Bible, Jesus Christ says, or St. Paul says, I live. No, the Christ that liveth in me, he corrects himself. I live, but no, the Christ that liveth in me, that is a real realization. So the Brahman, he is there. I am one with him, that is my true nature. So all the work I does not do any tainting on me. So this is the famous verse 10, which is capped by the next verse, 11. Similarly, Kayena manasa buddhya kevalayindriyairapi yogina karma kuruvanti sangam tektva atmashuddhaye. Yogis perform work, yogina karma kuruvanti sangam tektva, giving up attachment, atmashuddhaye, to purify the inner life. This is the stress. Yogina karma kuruvanti. Karma yogis do plenty of actions in order to purify our inner life. What kind of actions? Kayena manasa buddhya kevalayindriyairapi. Kaya means the body. They do bodily work. Then manasa, mental work. Buddhi, reason, exercising reason and discriminatory faculties. Not only so, kevalayindriyairapi, even ordinarily by the senses also, they work plenty, and yet they are yogis, they are purifying themselves through all this work, there is no attachment. So this is the stress. Yogina karma kurvanti. Karma yogis do karma all the time. The body, the senses, and the mind, and the buddhi, etc. But the object is to purify the inner life so that we can manifest our divine nature. The divine nature is always there. Nobody can destroy it. This is the indestructible nature of man, the infinite Atman. That is the most inspiring message of Vedanta, that anything may go wrong with you, but not the Atman. He is always pure, ever free, ever awakened. That is the nature of the Atman. But in our day-to-day life, we neglect it. We are busy with the sensory world, sensory actions, all these things going on. The Atman is always there, neglected all the time. Now no more neglect. I am going to recognize that profound dimension of my personality. Therefore, this is the constant stress in Vedanta. Even now, when I am ignorant of the truth is there. Ignorance doesn't abolish the truth. Remember that word in scientific language. Ignorance doesn't abolish the truth. Even in civil life we say, ignorance of law is no excuse. You committed a crime against law. I didn't know that law. It doesn't matter. You have to pay for that action that you did. Similarly, scientific truth, it is a truth. Fire means hot. You put your hand, you must get hot. You must get burned. There's a truth about it. Ignorance doesn't make any difference so far as the truth is concerned. So in this way, about man there are profound truths. The profoundest is that you are the eternal Atman, ever free, ever pure, ever awakened is your true nature. Shankaracharya puts this sentence in a fine place in the Sutra Bhashya, commentary on the Brahma Sutras. Nitya Shuddha, Nitya Buddha, Nitya Mukta, Paramatman. Nitya Shuddha means ever pure. Whatever impurities you may have, they do not affect the Atman. Only they affect the body, senses and the mind. Never beyond that. So Nitya Shuddha, Nitya Buddha, ever free, ever awakened. Just like the sun, ever bright. A little cloud coming here doesn't affect the sun. Sun is always bright, that is your true nature. Then Nitya Mukta, ever free, ever free, ever free. I don't experience it because I have not thought about it. I have not worked towards it. I have forgotten it. That's what you are doing. But the true nature is this. In no other literature will you find this high status of man proclaimed. Even in the state of ignorance, even in the state of bondage, you are ever free. You are ever illumined. That is your true nature. Let people realize this truth. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Shankara's commentary contains a profound verse. Prak Brahma Vijnanadavi Sarvo Jantuho Brahmatvat Sarvabhavapannaha Paramatthataha. Even before the realization of Brahman, every being is Brahman and therefore is one with all. Even before realization of Brahman, you are that Brahman. As constantly the Upanishads will say, you are that, you are that. Tat-tvamasi, Tat-tvamasi. A profound truth about man, according to some of the modern scientists as well. You are free, you are free. If you are not free, you can never be free. See, you can't become what you are not. What is not you, you cannot get back. Because you are free, you can become free. You have only forgotten it, only neglected it. Don't neglect it, don't forget it, work towards it. That is a special emphasis in Vedanta, and in Vedanta alone you will find this tremendous statement. I am essentially free. In the end of the third chapter, in the last 7 verses, we studied this subject where evil and sin affect only the body, the senses and the mind, never the Atman. And so try to touch the Atman, try to manifest the divine power there, overcome this evil that has afflicted your body, mind and sensory system. That salvation is built into yourself. You need not depend upon anybody else for that salvation. If there is infection in the body, we can correct it by treatment. The infection of the senses also you can correct. The infection of the mind is also possible but more difficult. But one infection will never come. Your infinite self, yourself, is never infected. Because there is one focus in you which is free from all infection, you can destroy all this infection outside. Evam buddhe param buddha. The last verse said in the 3rd chapter. Evam buddhe param buddha. Samsabhyatmanam atmana. Yeheshatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasada. Thus, realizing the Atman behind the buddhi and controlling the rest of the body and mind system. Overcome this infection that has come to you, this sin, this crime, this tendency. Very difficult to satisfy them. They are like fire. Put more fuel, more inflaming. That's the nature of the evil. That has got hold of you. But overcome them because you are free in your innermost self. Hold that. Bring the power of that spiritual strength to overcome this. This is the great message given in the 3rd chapter, dealing with crime and sin by man and how to overcome that problem. So in this chapter, we have seen that with the mind, with the senses, with the body. Great sages do work. The Karma Yogi does the work, but he does it to purify himself so that this Atman can find manifestation. Now it is absolutely hidden, it is not at all known to me, but it will find manifestation more and more. It is just simply a cover. I just cover the face, you cannot see me, I cannot see you. And if it is a thick cover, it is more difficult. A thin cover, easier. Thinnest cover, at least some glimpse you can get. Opaque, transparent, translucent cover. That is a cover that is covering us from the Atman. Tamasic, Rajasic, Sattvic natures. Develop a little more of Sattva. This knowledge will come to you much more easily. So Vivekananda defines religion as the manifestation of the divinity already in man. There is already the divinity. They are essentially divine, but it is not manifest. There is fire in a matchstick, but it is not manifest. Touch it, it is cold. But strike it, fire comes out. But the matchstick must be dry. If it is wet, any amount of striking will not bring out the fire. So certain conditions are to be satisfied for the divine to manifest itself. Those conditions are Krishna is telling here. Therefore, it is the privilege of every human being to manifest this divine within. That is the sole purpose of religion. Man realizes his own true nature, manifests it, and lives a life based upon that realization. Everything is here and now, not going to some heaven in some particular place here and there, not at all. All here and now. In this chapter, a few verses later, you will get that word, Vihaiva, Vihaiva, Vihaiva. Here itself, here itself, here itself. What can be more rational? What can be more practical? What can be more universal than this message? We shall continue this message of the 5th chapter when we meet again next time.